Hello, today we're going to review the essential rules for pulling multiple trailers. Handling doubles and triples requires a high level of skill and attention to detail, so let's get you prepared to pass this endorsement exam with flying colors. Here are the key questions for the doubles and triples endorsement. For the best handling, where should the heaviest trailer be positioned? Directly behind the tractor. Keeping the heaviest load up front provides better stability and reduces the risk of the rear trailers swaying or causing a rollover. Let's continue. What is the crack the whip effect? Rearward amplification that makes the last trailer most likely to tip. Small steering movements at the front of the truck become much larger by the time they reach the back trailer. Next question. Which trailer is most likely to turn over during a sudden steering move? The last trailer. Because of rearward amplification, the final trailer in your combination feels the most force during any swerve or turn. Let's move on. What is a converter dolly? A coupling device of one or two axles with a fifth wheel. The dolly acts as the connecting link that allows you to attach a second or third trailer to the rear of the one in front of it. Continuing. How do you check if air is flowing to the rear trailer? Open the emergency line shut-off valve at the rear of the last trailer. You should hear air escaping. If you don't, there is a blockage or a closed valve somewhere in the combination. Next point. When coupling doubles, which shut-off valves should be open? Rear of front trailer, front of rear trailer. This allows the air to pass through the entire system to reach the brakes of the following trailers. Let's keep going. When coupling doubles, which shut-off valves should be closed? The valves at the rear of the last trailer. If these are open, your air will simply leak out of the back of the truck instead of building pressure in the system. Next question. Why should you never disconnect a pintle hook with a dolly under a trailer? The dolly tow bar may fly up and cause injury. The weight of the trailer on the dolly can create tension that causes the tow bar to snap upward violently when released. Let's continue. What should you do to check the trailer connection? Gently pull forward against the trailer brakes. This tug test confirms that all fifth wheels in your combination are securely locked onto their respective kingpins. Next point. How many seconds ahead should you look when pulling doubles? 12 to 15 seconds. Because your stopping distance and off-tracking are increased, you need more time to react to hazards. Let's move on. What is the first step when coupling a converter dolly to the rear trailer? Back the dolly under the rear trailer. You must align the dolly's fifth wheel with the trailer kingpin before attempting to lock them together. Continuing. What can happen if you steer a double or triple combination too sharply? The last trailer can tip over. Abrupt steering is the primary cause of rollovers in multi-trailer setups. Next question. How do you release the dolly brakes to move it by hand? Open the air tank petcock or use the brake release. Draining the air from the dolly's small tank allows the spring brakes to release so you can position it manually. Let's keep going. When uncoupling the rear trailer, what should you do to the dolly? Lower the dolly landing gear. The dolly must be able to support its own weight and the weight of the tow bar once it is disconnected. Next point. What color is the ABS malfunction lamp on a converter dolly? Yellow. Just like on the tractor or a single trailer, a yellow light indicates the anti-lock system needs attention. Let's continue. In a set of triples, how many sets of shut-off valves are there? 3 sets. Each trailer and dolly connection point has valves that must be managed to ensure air reaches the very back. Next question. Why do doubles and triples require more following distance? They are heavier and take longer to stop. With more weight and more braking systems to synchronize, you need a much larger safety cushion. Let's move on. What is off-tracking? When the rear wheels follow a different path than the front wheels. In a set of doubles, the last trailer will cut the corner significantly more than a single trailer would. Continuing. When pulling triples, which trailer is most likely to experience crack the whip? The third trailer. The effect multiplies with every additional connection point, making the third trailer the most unstable. Next point. Before backing under a second trailer, you must make sure the trailer height is correct. If the trailer is too low, the dolly will hit it. If it's too high, you might miss the kingpin entirely. Let's keep going. How do you test the trailer protection valve? Step on off the brake until the red knob pops out. This ensures the tractor will save enough air to operate its own brakes if the trailers lose pressure. Next question. What is the danger of pulling empty doubles in high winds? They can be blown out of their lane easily. Empty trailers lack the weight to stay planted, and high winds can push the rear trailer into oncoming traffic. Let's continue. If the second trailer does not have spring brakes, you should use wheel chocks. Without spring brakes, there is nothing to hold the trailer in place once the air pressure drops. Next point. What should you check on the pintle hook during inspection? That it is latched and the safety pin is in place. A loose or unpinned pintle hook can lead to a trailer disconnect at highway speeds. Let's move on. How should you check the converter dolly's air tank? Ensure it is drained of water and oil. Moisture in the dolly tank can freeze in the winter, blocking air to the rear trailer brakes. Continuing. Why should you avoid sudden movements with doubles? To prevent the rear trailer from rolling over. Smooth steering and gradual braking are the only ways to keep a multi-trailer combination stable. Next question. When driving through a curve, you should slow down before the curve. You want to be at a safe speed before the turn begins so you can maintain a steady, smooth pull through it. Let's keep going. If you must back a double or triple, what is the best advice? Avoid backing whenever possible. It is nearly impossible to back a multi-trailer combination in a straight line. Always try to park in pull-through spots. Next point. What should you do if the last trailer starts to sway? Stop and check the load and tires. Swaying can be a sign of a shifting load, a flat tire, or a mechanical failure in the dolly. Let's continue. Which hitch is commonly used to connect the dolly to the front trailer? A pintle hook. The pintle hook on the rear of the lead trailer connects to the eye on the dolly's tow bar. Next question. What must you do if your vehicle thumps or vibrates heavily? Pull over and check for a flat or loose tire. With so many wheels on the ground, a vibration is often your first warning of a tire that is about to fail. Let's move on. What does the RQ on a shipping paper stand for? Reportable quantity. If you are hauling hazmat in these amounts, any spill must be reported to federal authorities. Continuing. When are you allowed to use a fire extinguisher on a hazmat fire? Only if you can do so without putting yourself in danger. Never take risks with hazardous materials. If the fire is out of control, evacuate the area. Next point. Which of these is a sign of a leaking tank? Wet spots around the dome cover or valves. Always inspect your valves and fittings for signs of moisture or sweating during your pre-trip. Let's keep going. What is a safe haven? A government-approved place to park explosives. If you are hauling Class 1.1 explosives, you cannot leave them unattended unless they are in a safe haven. Next question. If you're carrying Class 1.1 explosives, where can you not park? Within 300 feet of a bridge or tunnel. Protecting public infrastructure is a key part of hazardous materials safety. Let's continue. What should you do if you are given a leaking package to load? Refuse the load. Safety starts at the dock. Never accept a package that is already compromised. Next point. How many different hazard classes are defined by the DOT? 9. These range from explosives and gases to corrosives and radioactive materials. Let's move on. What does a marine pollutant mark indicate? The material is harmful to the environment if spilled in water. Extra care must be taken when crossing bridges or driving near drainage systems. Continuing. Which of these is prohibited when loading explosives? Using hooks or metal tools that could cause sparks. Any spark or high-impact strike could cause a catastrophic explosion during the loading process. Next question. What should you use to warn other drivers if your placarded vehicle breaks down at night? Reflective triangles. Flares are strictly forbidden around hazardous materials because they are an open flame. Let's keep going. What is the purpose of the segregation table? To show which materials cannot be loaded together. This table prevents you from loading chemicals that might react dangerously if they come into contact. Next point. When driving a placarded vehicle, you must check your tires every time the vehicle is parked. Routine checks prevent overheated tires from starting a fire that could reach your hazardous cargo. Let's continue. What part of the vehicle should you check for leaks during a pre-trip? All valves, pipes in the tank shell. A leak in any part of the containment system makes the vehicle unsafe for the road. Next question. Which of these materials is an example of a Class 8 hazard? Battery acid. Class 8 is the corrosive class, containing materials that can dissolve steel or cause severe skin damage. Let's move on. If you have to transfer hazmat from one tanker to another on a public road, what is required? It must be an emergency. Transfers are generally prohibited on public roads unless it's necessary to save lives or prevent a larger disaster. Continuing. What must be on the shipping paper if the material is a poison inhalation hazard? The words poison inhalation hazard. This warns responders that a leak could create a toxic cloud that is deadly to breathe. Next point. Why is it important to know the hazard class of your cargo? To know how to handle it safely and what placards to use. Every class has its own specific rules for distance, parking, and emergency response. Let's keep going. What is a non-bulk package? A container with a capacity of 119 gallons or less. This covers smaller items like drums and pails rather than large tanker loads. Next question. When hauling hazmat, what should you do before starting a trip? Check that the shipping papers are correct and the load is secure. The driver is the final check to ensure the load is safe for the public. That's all for today. Study these points thoroughly and you'll be ready to earn your doubles and triples endorsement with confidence. Good luck on your exam.